Zhuge Liang saw that the situation in Hanzhong was becoming increasingly tense and began laying out his plan step by step. He first spoke to Huang Zhong, telling him that if he was willing to go into battle, Fa Zheng would accompany him as an advisor. He emphasized that all decisions must be discussed carefully, and that Huang Zhong must not rely on bravery alone. Zhuge Liang also promised that reinforcements would be sent from behind when necessary. Huang Zhong accepted the order and set out for Dingjun Mountain with Fa Zheng and his troops. Zhuge Liang then advised Liu Bei that although Huang Zhong was an experienced veteran, success could not be guaranteed by courage alone without proper support. Since the army had already been dispatched, follow-up reinforcements were essential. Thus, Zhao Yun was ordered to lead a separate force along a hidden route as a surprise support unit. His instructions were clear. If Huang Zhong prevailed, he was to remain in place. If the situation turned unfavorable, he was to rush in and rescue him. At the same time, Lu Feng and Meng De were each sent with 3,000 troops to occupy strategic mountain passes. They raised numerous banners and created the illusion of overwhelming forces, making the enemy believe that Shu troops lay in ambush on all sides. Even after these deployments, Zhuge Liang remained cautious. He secretly sent instructions to Ma Chao, ordering him to act according to circumstances, and stationed Yan Yan at the key defenses of Longzhong and Baxi. This ensured that Zhang Fei and Wei Yan could later be freed to join the broader campaign for Hanzhong. Every move in this plan was tightly connected, all designed to lure the Wei army into making fatal mistakes. On the opposing side, Zhang He and Xiahou Shang learned that Tiandang Mountain had fallen, and that Xiahou De and Han Hao had been killed. Alarmed by the worsening situation, they urged Xiahou Yuan to report immediately to the Wei court and request reinforcements, warning that Hanzhong would otherwise be lost. Xiahou Yuan promptly sent messengers at full speed to Xuchang to notify Cao Hong. Cao Hong traveled through the night to Xuchang and reported the situation to Cao Cao in full. Cao Cao was shocked and immediately summoned his ministers to discuss countermeasures. Lu Yi, the chief clerk, spoke bluntly, stating that if Hanzhong fell, the Central Plains would be shaken, and that this was a battle of utmost importance requiring Cao Cao's personal command. Regretful for having ignored Lu Ye's earlier advice, Cao Cao ordered a mobilization of 400,000 troops and prepared to lead the campaign himself. It was the 7th month of autumn in the 23rd year of Jianan. The Wei army advanced in 3 columns, with Xiahou Dun as the vanguard, Cao Cao commanding the central army, and Cao Xiu guarding the rear. The vast army moved with banners filling the sky, its power and scale overwhelming to behold. After passing Tong Pass, Cao Cao noticed a lush wooded area and learned that it was Lantian, once the estate of his old friend Kai Yong. Kai Yong's daughter, Kai Yan, now lived there with her husband, Dong Si. Moved by old memories, Cao Cao ordered the main army to continue while he personally visited the estate with just over 100 riders. Dong Si was away on official duty, leaving Kai Yan alone at home. Upon hearing of Cao Cao's arrival, she hurried out to greet him. Inside the hall, Cao Cao noticed a rubbing of a stone inscription hanging on the wall and asked about its origin. Kai Yan recounted the story of Cao Yi, who drowned herself while trying to save her father, becoming famous throughout the realm for filial piety. She also mentioned that her father, Kai Yong, had once written 8 words on the back of the stele: yellow silk, young woman, maternal grandson, mortar and pestle. Cao Cao could not grasp their meaning and asked his attendants, but none could explain it. Only Yang Xiu claimed to understand. Cao Cao insisted on pondering it himself, and after traveling several miles, suddenly realized the answer. He then had Yang Xiu explain. revealing that the phrases combined into the 4 words exquisite and marvelous wording. All present were deeply impressed. Before long, the Wei army reached Nanjing. Cao Hong reported the situation at Dingjun Mountain in detail, explaining that Huang Zhong was pressing the attack while Xiahou Yuan, mindful of Cao Cao's imminent arrival, had remained on the defensive. Cao Cao believed that refusing to fight made the army appear timid, so he sent an imperial envoy ordering Xiahou Yuan to engage the enemy. He also wrote personally, warning that military command required both firmness and flexibility, not reckless bravery alone. Encouraged by the letter, Xiahou Yuan believed this was his chance to win great merit before Cao Cao arrived. Zhang He repeatedly warned him that Huang Zhong, though old, was formidable and had Fa Zheng advising him, and that the enemy should not be underestimated. Xiahou Yuan ignored these warnings. He sent Xiahou Shang to lure the enemy, feigning defeat and drawing Chen Shi into pursuit. Chen Shi fell into an ambush and was captured by Xiahou Yuan. When news reached the Shu camp, Huang Zhong grew anxious, but Fa Zheng calmly analyzed the situation. He pointed out that Xiahou Yuan was impatient and short on strategy, and that this weakness could be exploited by reversing the initiative. Shu forces gradually advanced their camps, pressing the enemy and slowly seizing control of the battlefield. As the Shu army continued its advance, Xiahou Yuan finally lost his patience, and the two sides agreed to exchange prisoners. During the exchange, Huang Zhong secretly wounded Xiahou Shang with an arrow, thoroughly enraging Xiahou Yuan. After dozens of exchanges between the two commanders, the Wei camp suddenly sounded the signal to withdraw, leading Xiahou Yuan to suspect an ambush in the mountains and retreat to his camp. Fa Zheng then pointed out a high ridge opposite Dingjun Mountain that overlooked the entire area. If it were taken, Dingjun Mountain would be as easy to grasp as something held in one's palm. That night, Huang Zhong led a surprise assault. The defending general, Du Shi, was outnumbered and forced to abandon the position. Fa Zheng then established a plan using white banners to signal restraint and red banners to signal attack, patiently awaiting the right moment. When the Wei troops had been encircling the mountain for a long time and were exhausted, the red banners were raised and drums and horns thundered. Huang Zhong charged like a tiger descending from the hills, smashing straight into the enemy ranks. Xiahou Yuan rushed to respond but was caught off guard, and was cut down by Huang Zhong in a single strike. With their commander slain, the Wei army collapsed, and the balance of power at Dingjun Mountain was completely reversed. When Cao Cao learned of Xiahou Yuan's death, he was overwhelmed with grief and fury, recalling Guan Lu's old prophecy, though it was now too late to change fate. He personally led the army forward to seek revenge. Huang Zhong was ordered to raid enemy supply lines deep in Wei territory, but was surrounded by Zhang He and Su Huang, placing him in grave danger. Zhao Yun waited in camp until the agreed time and, seeing that Huang Zhong had not returned, immediately led 3,000 elite troops to the rescue. He cut through enemy lines, killing opposing officers and breaking into the encirclement, rescuing Huang Zhong and Zhang Zhu. Cao Cao witnessed Zhao Yun charging in and out without resistance, and exclaimed that the hero of Changban was still alive. After retreating, Zhao Yun opened his camp gates wide and lowered his banners, making the Wei army suspicious. When the enemy approached, Shu ambushes sprang out on all sides. The Wei troops fell into chaos, trampling one another, suffering heavy casualties. At the same time, Lu Feng and Meng De burned the Wei supply stores. With no choice, Cao Cao withdrew to Nanjing. At the Battle of the Han River, Shu achieved a decisive victory. Summary: from Dingjun Mountain to the Han River, This chapter is ultimately about shifts in morale and momentum. Xiahou Yuan relied on courage and underestimated his enemy, leading to his death. Hanzhong, despite his age, achieved a decisive victory by slaying the opposing commander. Zhao Yun once again proved his unmatched valor, rescuing allies in crisis and turning defeat into triumph. From this point on, the situation in Hanzhong tilted decisively in Shu's favor, while Cao Cao's transition from dominance to decline became clearly visible. Knowledge points. 1. Hanzhong killing Xiahou Yuan. The outcome is historically accurate, but the process is highly dramatized. Records of the Three Kingdoms. Biography of Xiahou Yuan only states that Xiahou Yuan was killed when Liu Bei's forces attacked Dingjun Mountain. There is no record of a duel with Hanzhong, nor of white flag and red flag tactics. 2. Zhao Yun's single-handed bravery at the Han River. This is a classic example of heroic storytelling. Records of the Three Kingdoms. Biography of Zhao Yun does record that Zhao Yun successfully covered the retreat at the Han River and frightened the Wei army. However, it does not describe a massive Wei collapse or scenes such as Zhao Yun standing alone at the camp gate to intimidate Cao Cao. 3. Cao Cao's retreat from Hanzhong. Cao Cao did personally come to Hanzhong after Xiahou Yuan's death, but his withdrawal was primarily due to logistical difficulties, unfavorable terrain, and the high cost of a prolonged stalemate. The novel exaggerates this into a series of disastrous miscalculations and total defeat for dramatic effect.